Liverpool interested in Antoine Semenyo, but they'll have a fight on their hands if they do go in for him, because Manchester United and Manchester City are both in the race to sign him, and no doubt more clubs as well lining up. He's got that release clause, hasn't he? £65 million, which kicks in January. It's your old club, Dan. What do you think happens with Semenyo? Does he go in January?
Yeah, the release clause is obviously out there for everyone to hear about. I think every top club in Premier League and in European football probably would like to sign him. How many teams can actually afford the 65 million? I think that's what it's tutored at. Can Liverpool? They obviously splashed out in the summer. I believe they probably can go again. I think if they're going to look to sell Mo Salah in the summer, I would imagine Semenyo would be a direct replacement for him, and he would inject pace and energy back into that squad and probably get them over the line to the Champions League for sure.
Wouldn't it cause more of a problem though if he came in and Salah was still there?
Yeah, there's that argument as well. I think if that was the case, then the writing's on the wall for Mo Salah probably. It wouldn't be an easy situation for Arne Slot to manage over the next 4 months though. That would be a really difficult thing to do. So yeah, there's also that to look at. Arsenal, they're covered in wide areas. Would there be a case of Trossard leaving, maybe to get one last huge payday in Saudi Arabia for him? Martinelli, could they possibly let him go and probably receive good money? I don't know. There's question marks on a lot, but Antoine Semenyo, what we do know is a fantastic player who would improve a lot of teams.
January, we could see him make a move. Another player we'll be keeping a very close eye on all our transfer content is Kobbie Mainoo. Not favoured, it seems, by Ruben Amorim at the moment, Dave. Do we sense that he could be on the move, even if it's a loan in January?
Potentially. I think a lot of former Manchester United players have come out and urged him to look for a move away in this January winter window if he's not going to be given the minutes. He obviously came on the other night against Bournemouth for the last half an hour, and because of Casemiro's yellow card in that game, he could well be starting against Aston Villa this weekend. So that enables him to get minutes under his belt, potentially put himself in the shop window. So interesting that I think we will be talking about Kobbie Mainoo a lot over the next few weeks. And
the transfer chat is only good. Right, let's get to Tottenham Hotspur now. It has been a mixed start for Thomas Frank, hasn't it, since he arrived in the summer. I say Carve's with Dan and myself in the studio. Carve, what's the view? Everyone's got an opinion on Frank and the job he's doing at Spurs. What's the view inside the club on how he's getting on?
Look, I think there have been lots of changes at Spurs. You know, Daniel Levy went in the summer as well. There's new executives in the club, and they're going to continue backing Thomas Frank. They realise there is no quick fix. You know, players like Harry Kane have gone, Son have gone as well. He's had to contend with a lot of injuries this season. But it is really worrying times for Spurs fans. A lot of Spurs fans I know are feeling disillusioned, disenchanted. When they watch their side, they want to be excited. Even if the side don't always win, they want to see Spurs play like Spurs, and that is not what they're seeing at the moment, especially in games, for instance, big derbies against Chelsea, the North London derby against Arsenal. Even in the old days when Spurs didn't have particularly good sides, when it was a big game like that, their players used to turn up. The players are just not turning up for those kind of big games at the moment. The performances have been limp, timid. There seems to be a disconnect between the players and the supporters as well. And a lot of the supporters I speak to at the moment are saying they're not sure if Thomas Frank is the right man to be the Spurs manager. But the view from inside the club is he is, and he needs to be given more time.
What do you think, Dan? From what you've seen so far, is he the right man for Spurs?
Look, going off his Premier League achievements and record at Brentford, then yes, he's a fantastic manager. That's why he got the job in the first place. Yes, it hasn't worked out as well as probably everyone hoped as yet, but like Harvey said, they've had injuries. Kulusevski's a big loss. Just to change it up with Kudos a little bit, he's played a lot. Dominic Solanke, they spent big money on him and he's been injured all season. So there's two big players that they're missing. Yes, there's probably a little bit of discontent with the fans and maybe a few players. Obviously, you see a couple of weeks ago, a couple of players walked past Thomas Frank. I don't want to read too much into it. I don't think there was too much into it, but there is something there that's not sitting right, and there's not It's not 100% camaraderie between players, manager, fans right now. But we know how quickly it can change, and a few wins can do that. I think obviously results against Arsenal can really help, and it didn't quite manage to do it. But yeah, a couple back-to-back wins in the Premier League can creep you up the table, like I said earlier. But yeah, it's not all rosy at Spurs yet.
Yeah, because in the last few months, I mean, they've been losing more games than they've been winning. And actually, if you look at in their last 11 games, in 9 of those games, their XG, their expected goals, was less than 1. Is the way the team's been playing in some ways as big an issue as the results?
That's probably it. You want Tottenham to be on the front foot, especially home games. And I watched a few of their games, and especially a few weeks ago against Chelsea, there was nothing there. They're the games that you want to get up for. They're too easy to get beat. They're not. They don't want to go forward with numbers and put a cross in the box. There's no one attacking the ball. They don't have a clinical striker. That's the problem. I think when you look at goals like that, which kind of sums where they are at the moment, which doesn't help. You go behind and then it's an uphill battle. Forest are obviously good at home. Their form this year has been a bit indifferent, but yeah, Tottenham need to get on the front foot. They've got good players, fast players, attacking talent, and they need to start showing it more.
They've got 22 points from 16 games, which is actually one less than they had at this stage under Ange Postecoglou last season. It's the lowest they've had at this stage of a Premier League season since 2008. You said the club are behind him still, Kobbie. Do you feel January is going to be important for Spurs?
I think it will be, but I think it's going to take more than just one window to address the problems that Thomas Frank has with his squad. I was speaking to our Tottenham reporter, Michael Bridge, yesterday, and he's on his sickbed at the moment.
Get well soon, Michael.
Yeah, he feels terrible. He's been off work for a few days.
Nothing to do with Spurs, obviously.
Well, that's what I said to him. I said, God, is this to do with Tottenham or have you got the flu? But look, when he starts talking about Tottenham, he sort of, the energy comes back to him and he was starting to feel better and be a lot more passionate. But he was saying to me, look, the problem is, at the end of the day, we've got an average squad. We don't have the kind of players that we used to have in the past. The Klinsmans, the Sheringham's, the Sons or the Kanes. And he also said the big problem is that we missed out on signing Morgan Gibbs-White in the summer. Look what he did to Spurs at the weekend playing for Forest. They also missed out on signing Eberechi Eze. And the big miss for them, I think, this season has been James Maddison, who looks like he's going to be out for the whole season. And another point he made is the situation surrounding the goalkeeper, Vicario, because last January they brought in Kinski. He was supposed to be one for the future. He was supposed to challenge for the #1 spot as well. For whatever reason, Ange Postecoglou and Thomas Frank haven't really trusted him because perhaps he's too young. So do they need to look again at that goalkeeping position? I think if they do, that's one they'll probably address next summer rather than in January.